them come. This is their fate.
All right. My Birdman hands in there. All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay. Here are my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. A lot has happened over the last few days that we've been away, and it's getting a lot crazier even today, but a lot going on, a lot to talk about. Xbox Showcase, of course. We're going to be talking about how it compares to State of Play. We're going to be talking about everything in the middle, Ubisoft Forward. We're going to be talking the game shows, the IGN Live, if you want to, if there's anything there to cover outside of Phil Spencer. But there's plenty to talk about, and we're going to try to get to it all. So without further ado, Jalen, Josh, tell the people how you been, what you've been up to, what you've been doing, how's life going, what you've been playing. Yeah, where you at? Talk to the people.
What I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of a brand new hero shooter, the Overwatch killer.
What's it called?
Star Wars Hunters.
Yo, is it good? Is it actually good? Like, to be being serious?
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
I enjoy the game a lot, but it's not better than Overwatch, and it's the same style of game, but it's built for mobile first. So
okay,
like I mentioned last week, the game is very small. It's 4v4. The maps are very small. The characters have different abilities, but they only got like 2 or 3 abilities. So it's a more simplified package of Overwatch. But what's there is actually very fun. The modes are fun. The matchmaking is quick. The character abilities are good. So for it to be like a knockoff Overwatch, that's a IP, like a big IP, it's actually pretty fun. I don't have any issues with like the unlock system or how they do the monetization or anything like that. You just play it, you get the characters for free. Almost got all the characters, and then every month or whatever, they're gonna add a new character with a battle pass or something.
How much space on your phone?
Overall, actually pretty small. I can look at it right now because I don't have any space on my phone normally.
I was gonna see if Jalen can get it with his 2 megabytes of space that he got free, probably. Nah, you gotta upgrade your phone. You got a pretty big upgrade, didn't you? Last time you did it, I thought. But you like to keep all your photos on your things. So I don't know. I thought you had a pretty big upgrade. Anyways, go ahead.
It's a Unreal Engine 4 game, I think, and it's 2.5 gigabytes.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, every other game I'd be trying to play be like, oh, we need 15 or 8.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah, that's not bad, actually. Okay. Then you can swing it, Jalen? Want to play some Hunters? No? All right, we're going to take that as a no. But go ahead, sorry. I didn't mean to step on you.
But yeah, it's been fun. So I've been putting a lot of time in that when I have, just laying in the bed and I don't feel like booting up anything else like Elden Ring or something like that. Just play a couple matches of Star Wars. So that's pretty good. It just came out last week, so I don't know if the game is going to be good, long term, because Overwatch started good and then got bad. But what's here is good. So if y'all want to try it, I'm here to play. Otherwise, y'all gonna keep playing Multiverses.
He been ducking at Multiverses. I know you've been ducking it. I ain't seen him on in a minute. Have you seen him on, Jalen? Every time I get on, I don't see this man.
I told Jalen every time I boot up Multiverses, I get sleepy. It's like I don't even feel like playing this.
Oh my goodness!
Man, I get on me.
All right.
The game give me conniptions, and I don't need those headaches right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, just work, take care of the family. It's been on and off, a lot of rain, and the next day super hot and humid. But everybody doing good. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else I play. I did play a little bit of Elden Ring, but mostly been trying to catch up and watch all these events because it's the fake, the new E3 season where everybody got a 3 a.m. stream for me. So I got to figure out if I'm going to be up or not if I'm going to catch the highlights later.
Yeah, that does suck. Um, okay. What about you, Jalen? What you been up to?
Uh, Nothing super significant. Week been the same. I had kind of had an eventful weekend. I spent a lot of time with my friends over the weekend. I did get to chill on Friday. Spent a lot of time on Multiverses, Josh's favorite game that he been ducking at work on.
Yeah, he been ducking.
And then Sunday I had just went to a birthday party to celebrate one of my boys or whatever. So it was a smooth weekend. Same old with the workout thing, like working out, running and stuff like that. I had participate in this like little like Chicago Run Collective or whatever. It was
Hmm.
cool just going there and just trying to get my Saturday start off right. I go back there again. So I think they kind of whoop on TikTok or something like that or whatever. But I don't know. But like I said, it was smooth though. Game wise, I still pretty much been playing the same two game Multiverses and Final Fantasy Rebirth. So
Oh, you
I'm
actually
just
playing
trading
that
along
game?
with them.
Yeah, he said he
Yeah,
been
I mean,
playing
I'm
it.
taking my time playing it and stuff like that. I'm not like, you know, chugging through it like at a heavy rate and stuff. I can tell that game gonna take me a while to beat it just because I am doing some of the side quest things. It was somewhere similar to the stuff that we had talked about on Friday in regards to it. I
Hmm.
think the game got a decent amount of content in it, honestly, for, a lot of games they be shamming and stuff like that. So I ain't really complaining about like the content in the game. I like a lot of stuff about the game. So I mean, that's that so far. Yeah, so I'm enjoying it. I think there are probably like some slower parts, and again, I'm not the biggest fan of open world things sometimes because I feel like it take away how streamlined the thing is. And Josh kind of voiced several gripes that he has with it. Like a lot of the material being locked behind doing some of the open world things, and I can understand that. So, like I said, it could be streamlined just a little bit better, but overall, I don't feel like it's a chore playing the combat and stuff like that, and to give me more time to actually get better at it because I feel like you can be bad at the combat on it. It could be like exceptionally well because they give you a lot of different things that you can tap into. It's
Hmm.
not just like, all right, I'm gonna block, I'm gonna defend, I'm gonna use a spell where I'm gonna attack. You got like attack, and then you got abilities, and you got the synergy. Trying to level up your materia with it, the spells, the synergy abilities, even like synergy abilities that's like not passive, but like you can use them more readily rather than using like the team attack and stuff like that. So, and a
Yeah, a
lot of
lot of
that stuff is
options.
encouraged too. Yeah, so it's just kind of trying to utilize what you have, and I think doing some of those side quests with the combat and thing like that, it make you think about those things just a little bit more so you can like really utilize the combat. Because I mean, I think I would be interested in playing a game like on a harder difficulty at some point in time. Not to say that the difficulty I have right now isn't a little bit challenging. I have to kind of get acclimated a little bit. So, but
Hmm.
other than that, what I've been doing, just like I said, playing Final Fantasy and match desyncing on multiverses about
Multiverse.
40% of the time.
About 40%. I say that's valid. About 40% of the time. Um,
But what party in Final Fantasy are you using like for your combat?
uh, I really just been using. I've been going between Aerith, Red 13, Cloud, and Barret. I like the Tifa on the first one. I have to go back to playing with her. I feel like she kind of take a little bit more like precision maybe.
Hmm.
So I have to see like if I really like playing with her and stuff like that. Because I remember she used to go off and was a powerhouse, but I just fight the little bit of time I played with her on this one. I just was like, I probably need to give her like different material, or it
Yeah,
just didn't seem like it was like paying off.
she was strong in the second game. She's still strong, but I end up giving her I think the enemy skill materia where like if you use it you I forget how it worked in that game actually, but you can use enemy attacks, and that was very helpful for Tifa to give her a bigger variety because she don't really have any ranged attacks or anything like that. So giving her the enemy skills made her more versatile. But what I was going
Okay.
to say about the combat is that it took me a while to figure out, but you can't do it while you're fighting, but you can do it in between fights. That I think if you bring up the party menu, which is like R2 or something, and then press left or right on the D pad, it'll cycle between preset parties. So if you want Cloud, Aerith, and Barret in your first party, and then you see like a flying enemy, or you see a different enemy that you want to switch, you can just quickly switch it on the D-pad before you start the fight. That way you don't have to go into the menu, unequip everybody, and stuff like that. It'll already have a preset. The only thing is that they don't share materia, so that is something that at a lot of points in the story, maybe you get separated, and now you got to play as Barret. Well, now you got to go to your other party members, take off their materia, put it on Barret, and then when everybody come back together, now you got to go back to the menu and then put the materia back where it used to be. And that was the only customization gripe I had. I wish it was like a more streamlined way to like share materia, other than just like buy a bunch of copies of the same material. But
yeah, because then they got their own level and like how much AP and stuff like that too. So
yeah,
I definitely get that. I noticed that too. I've been that's how I've been switching. I'll be honest with you, I didn't export the menu too large because it wasn't as readily available to switch the party like manually. It was like they got the little 3 presets or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're getting through that game. I know that there's a ton of stuff coming down the line, so trying to get through stuff is key. And honestly, I'm probably gonna chuck Final Fantasy VII and buy it on PC later date. I don't really care to play it, so I'm not gonna pretend to try to play it now. I think it just looks disgusting, and that's just me. But that's just me.
Yeah.
So, what I've been doing, I've been playing a lot of multiverses. Talking number 1 seed in my set right now on the PvP front right now. I'm talking straight up memes all day. I'm talking LeBron James. I'm talking Wonder Woman. I'm talking Jason Voorhees. I'm talking nothing but multiverse. And I've been playing a lot though.
Nothing but net.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot of multiverses. I've been setting up my room because I remember when Josh kind of brought up, hey, reset your self spring cleaning. I was like, it's time. So I've been resetting stuff, zip tying everything, making stuff look good in here, and helping myself, get back to being prepared for stream events or doing video content, whatever I got to do. It did help me streamline a lot of that stuff. But as I was doing that, and maybe y'all noticed, I was cleaning out my old stuff, making sure all the stuff still worked on my PS2 and all that stuff, because it sits dormant for a very long time. You don't know if all this stuff is still compatible and still working. So I just pulled everything out, got back on my old Wii U, but PS2, and it kind of got my brain working, thinking through innovation. And as I was watching these things again, I was like, man, these innovative and cool things, like you couldn't even swap a game without turning it off and turning it back on. I to this, like, the other day when I was playing Def Jam Fight for New York, and I was like, okay, let me pop it out. They gonna go back to the menu. Sight. I'm like, I forgot all about it. I forgot all about how it worked. So it's just kind of like I was thinking about innovation as I was playing all this stuff. And yeah, anyways, that type of stuff is, where my head was as I was watching these things. But overall, yeah, I mean, I had a good couple of days. Like I said, I was doing a lot of cleaning, a lot of playing multiverses, setting up a lot of stuff, getting everything to work right. Elden Ring, I got back on there on the PC, and I've been pushing through that to kind of get to the point where I'm good on the DLC when it comes out. So it's just been a lot of like little projects here and there and things that I've been doing to try to keep myself moving forward in the right direction. But it's just been, sparse here, sparse there. But I'm getting to a certain point where everything's right. So that's all I've been doing. Family's still good. Family's still great. They're still the kids still tearing up the house. They got the first floor all to themselves most of the time in the living room. They love to put their fingerprints on my 77-inch QLED downstairs. I love to wipe that off every night. But yeah, they doing a thing. They're getting bigger. They're getting stronger. They're getting faster, and they're getting a lot smarter than I give them credit for it all the time. They're very intelligent little babies. So, but yeah,
What they watching on that big screen?
Miss Rachel, a little bit of Elmo, Sesame Street. They really love JoJo Grand. But really
My little
the
one
main staples.
stuck on Blippi, unfortunately.
Oh my god, I hate Blippi. Nah, I don't hate.
I do too.
Hate is a strong word. I dislike.
I can't lie. He keeps the kids' attention, and she thinks he's a lot of fun. But he be rolling around doing backflips all day long. Like, boy, I don't have that energy to sit here and watch this. Sit down somewhere.
Yeah, go to Mika is a lot more, she's not calm, but she's just better. I just like her tone versus Blippi. Mika's better, and they love Mika, so they watch Mika more than Blippi.
Okay.
But yeah, they are pretty much one and the same. It's just a girl version, boy version. I just feel like the girl version is a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more calmer and makes sense. But then they also got a black girl, and then they got a black girl that's light skinned. So it's like, it doesn't confuse them. They just have a favorite. And it's funny because they be like, they disconnect when one come on and reconnect when the other come on. So it's like, I wonder why they did that. But anyways, off on a tangent at this point. But yeah, they're good, and we got a lot of games to talk about. So without further ado, it's already been 16 minutes and we only got 2 hours to get through this. Let's get started. Where we want to start? Microsoft? I think we should go with Microsoft first.
Yeah, Microsoft has like the biggest bulk of stuff, and then maybe cover like the more individual shows, like highlights, I guess. Because I wanted to talk about Star Wars Outlaws later.
Okay.
If y'all saw anything about that?
I did. But okay. Let's get through some of this stuff. Let's see. First up is Call of Duty.
Yeah, Call of Duty.
What did we think about the Call of Duty Black Ops 6? I think, I don't know if Jalen saw that part, because you came in around, I don't even remember. You came in like the halfway mark, but maybe you were watching it beforehand. But I think you came in at the halfway mark. So, but
something like that. I think it was like some 20. I forgot. It was like around some 20. Whatever the hour was, like the 20-minute mark.
Oh, the 20 minutes. Okay.
I don't know. I was in the gym, so I decided to tune in for a little bit, and then
it might have been Starfield. Might have been Starfield's Shatter Space stuff. Then that was around the 20-minute mark. So yeah. Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I know you saw the last part of it, so we can still talk about that. Omni movement, big, blockbuster gameplay for the single player, zombies. Honestly, I feel like this Black Ops 6 could be nice, but at the same time, I thought Modern Warfare 3 was going to be nice. And it's not that it wasn't, it's just that it was nice for a certain period of time. So I think these things are time gated for my enjoyment before I move on to the next. I think I am going to play the single player, and I think I am going to try the multiplayer. I'm not going to play the zombies, of course, because it's just not that's not what we're interested in, regardless of how much, we say we used to be. I don't think that's our interest anymore. So that doesn't align. So what are y'all going to do with Black Ops 6 if, Jalen, you still have Game Pass, and Josh, I know you have it. So will you even entertain Black Ops 6 as something moving forward, or not really?
I mean, like I was telling you on the little stream thing, it's cool that they got all this stuff. They really went into depth on it. I'm probably not going to care that much about it. Like you said, Call of Duty ain't something they need to, I ain't going to say they don't need to put a lot of effort in, but you kind of know what you're going to get. It's nothing that's going to be really revolutionary. It might be a little tweak here and there. maybe some physics differences and things like that. Maybe the way the gunplay feels, but it's going to be pretty much the same thing. With that being said, I mean, I don't plan on getting Call of Duty Black Ops. I mean, I may or may not have Game Pass, but Black Ops 6, I mean, it wasn't anything in there that really sold me. Like, man, I really need this game because I've been playing Call of Duty for like the past, more than 10 plus years. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not anything that's there for me at least. So it's nice that they put a lot of effort in, and kudos to those devs that do all that type of stuff, man. But it's just not something that's really like there for me. It's like really selling.
Yeah, I think our standpoint and viewpoint was that that 30-minute showcase wasn't necessarily needed for a Black Ops or Call of Duty game because they sell themselves, and we just felt as if it was a waste of kind of time because regardless of what they say, the incremental changes doesn't really make a large impact enough to us to feel like whatever you say is still gonna make a difference. As long as we still like Call of Duty, we still like to play the Twitch shooter, and we love the single player campaign that's bombastic. I think they gonna still buy it. What's your sentiment on Black Ops, Josh?
Yeah, I thought the showcase that they showed was okay. They spent a lot of time talking about the story and stuff, and I know that there are people that are interested in it, and it does matter to like I guess the overall era or style of the game, but not really that interested in the campaign. So I don't think I will play it unless people just say it's really good and you should experience it. I'm not that interested in the Black Ops storyline because they usually have a connected story and bringing back characters from like 4 or 5 games ago. Like remember him from this one mission where now he back, he doing this. It's like they're kind of doing too much. I don't really care about these characters that much. But if it's good, I might check it out. But right now, I'm not that interested in it. The gameplay, though, it was 2 things I guess that stood out. Is that one that they're kind of changing the movement a lot. Where they're trying to redo the movement, yeah, with the Omni movement. And for me, Treyarch has always been trying to differentiate themselves from the other Call of Duty studios, and movement is always one of them. So the Omni movement looks interesting because I can see that having a big effect, snowball effect on a bunch of different mechanics in the game. Being able to sprint in any direction, being able to dive in any direction and roll around on the ground like you do in like Helldivers and stuff like that. So that's going to create a lot of hopefully new situations for players. But at the same time, people still going to be bunny hopping and quick scoping and stuff like that. So I don't know if this is going to make the gameplay of the multiplayer any different, because a lot of Call of Duty players don't actually want it to change. And then when it does change, they use that to exploit it in some way. So it's interesting, but yeah, I don't know how it's going to be for me. What I at least can say, I'm interested in playing it and seeing how it feels. Normally that would be like the Call of Duty beta, and we'll play the beta for a couple of days and see if we like it or not. But if it's coming to Game Pass, I might check it out for the first weekend, see if it sticks with me or not. Personally, I don't think it will, because like I said, it's incremental changes, and at the end of the day, it's going to be which guns do you prefer, Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 6, and then you're going to stick to that game that you just like the style that they did it for that year. Overall, it's not too different.
Did you notice that they tried to simplify the movement where you can put a bunch of assist on, and like you can like automatically mount and slide and all this other stuff, which is interesting for like engagement. I really don't see how people can like make that a big deal, where I don't know, to me it just doesn't feel like it's a lot to do to understand where you can slide and where you can jump and like mount or vault.
It's one of those, oh my bad, it's one of those things I guess that they want to streamline it so you can spend more time shooting and stuff like that, because me playing like Modern Warfare 3, it's always situations where it's like, okay, I want to get higher up um, while I'm chasing somebody, but you might miss a jump or something like that, or the character doesn't do it correctly. So you having to spend time to like correct those motions while you're trying to stay in a gunfight or something. So now it'll automatically do it for you if you want that. It'll mantle, it'll slide, blah blah blah. That might be cool for some people. For me, I just prefer to have full control over it. Like sometimes I don't actually want to mantle or something. But I mean, it's a cool feature in the options or for maybe even accessibility. I don't see it as like a big highlight to justify like, oh, we've been working on this game for 3 years and this is what we have to show for it. Like, yeah, it's a cool feature, but yeah, it's not a highlight for me.
Gotcha.
I thought they already had some of those things when they streamlined some of those controls and all that type of stuff anyway. Like, I feel like I was switching stuff on Modern Warfare.
Yeah,
I feel like it
they
was on
have some
Warzone.
of
I
it.
was switching it like automatic mantle.
Mhm.
You know, even just like how the priority at which I hit the square button. Do I got to hold it down if I'm trying to slide? Do I need to hold? Like, I feel like I was already changing some of that stuff. Granted, I'm not saying that they didn't, but I just say all that to say, like, I'm not going to spend that much time in like the movement settings and things like that to go really make all those minor changes because I can't predict when I need to use those things. So
Yeah.
oftentimes I was going back into settings on Modern Warfare, like, or Warzone, like, well, I thought I wanted this and I actually don't like it because I feel like it got me killed more times than not. So I done went back to a setting or something that I kind of had to tweak it a little bit. And like you said, we spent a lot of time. Y'all spent at least 5-10 minutes talking about movement, the Omni, all that type of stuff. And that's, I don't think that's gonna like really make the game that much better. I think a lot of people is probably gonna cut the game or it's gonna be on the default settings. The main thing they're gonna switch is probably like their sensitivity or something like that. And then maybe how fast like a button react or something like that. Maybe you might be able to turn on like dead space and stuff with the sticks or whatever. But other than that, I mean, and maybe some motion blur. And I feel like that's what people gonna change. Granted, I'm not the ideal Call of Duty player, so I'm just the average one. So
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe it'll feel better in something like Warzone, where you're doing a lot of movement and jumping, and so those features would make Warzone feel better. But yeah, just a general Call of Duty multiplayer, I don't feel like I need those sprint assists and all that other stuff. And the peeking around corners, again, sure, that's cool. I would have to feel it to see if I like it or not, because I feel like that might be a feature I will personally turn off, just because different guns and different sights and stuff. Like maybe I don't want you to peek around the corner with this gun. I want it to stay straight. But it's if it's an option to turn it off, then it's cool.
Okay. No, I agree with a lot of you guys' points, and I think Call of Duty is going to still continue to be Call of Duty, regardless of like our efforts of like putting time into it or not. But I think I want to see something drastic before I kind of jump back in again because I tried that with Modern Warfare 3. I thought there was a lot of changes. And granted, I'm not saying that it was a bad game. I'm just saying that I didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, or at least I expected to at the time of purchase. So, yeah, I have a little buyer's remorse, but I still will. I'm not mad about it. I'm not super mad about it anyway. But if I'm going to continue to kind of go down that path of revisiting Call of Duty, especially now that it's in Game Pass, I want to see some really drastic changes that will make the and to a degree, being able to sprint in all directions is a pretty drastic change. I just need to see how that plays out over time. Because all it's going to do is give people that are already good at the game more mobility, more ability to kind of move around
Yeah,
and
Call of Duty is
we'll see.
already a Twitch shooter, and that's gonna
Yeah.
make it
So
10 times worse.
it's just one of those things where you gotta kind of let it see how it goes. But that is what we saw from that Call of Duty. Anything to add before we move to the next game?
No, Zombies is back. I don't personally care about round-based zombies, but if it's funny, then
Jalen was saying that they already had round base. Like, I don't remember though. I just don't remember like
yeah,
the
like
four.
they made it sound like round based zombies went away it didn't really like. Okay, so the last two Call of Duty games we got was Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. That didn't have round-based zombie. From what I had looked up, I mean, granted, I was only looking into it for probably about 120 seconds. Round-based zombies was in Cold War. I looked up people showing how far they got in Cold War. It is like
I
round
remember.
995. I looked up on Black Ops 4. It's talking about the highest round in that game. So
They
I
must
think
be
that was
talking
title
about
shot.
in general from Call of Duty space. We're back. With
What I think what they're actually talking about is I saw a lot of people complain about the Cold War version, where it's like it's not like the old games like Kindertoten, where it's like, oh, we got 30 waves, you beat it, and then you do it again. I think because the other ones were kind of endless, that was the issue.
I thought
But
when
yeah,
like I said, I didn't see specifically. I just seen like highest rounds. Maybe that only applied to some of the maps and things like that. But I seen people talking about the highest rounds you can make it to on Cold War and then on Black Ops 4 because on the last two Black Ops games that I didn't play, I played some of 3. And the zombies on there, but I mean, from what I know, it's like I think even World War II didn't even have like round based zombies. They did like some type of other.
Did he just disappear?
Okay, my bad. I just got disconnected somehow.
And went to the voice said, "Oh, no, just like
yeah, like I said, I don't really know from what. Like I said, World War II. I played the zombie mode a little bit. It's something different, but from what I know, the round-based zombies and things like that, it was probably absent for like Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 because I'm not like I don't even know who the devs is in the game no more. Like if Treyarch still be doing it, or if it's like Infinity War and they got Raven and all that type of stuff. But
I think it's
it's supposed
Treyarch
to, it was,
and Raven on this one. I think it's one more though. But yeah,
yeah, but it'd be like they'd be working with each other, so it's
Yeah.
harder to tell who
it is.
it
now.
used to be way more distinct way back then. Like Treyarch, Infinity War, like on and off, and then they had Raven in there, and then
Well,
they
Sledgehammer.
made Modern Warfare 3 or Sledgehammer. Yeah, they made Modern Warfare 3, and then now it's just more blended. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, Phil Spencer came out and spoke, and he kind of introduced the next game we're going to be talking about, which is that Doom Dark Ages. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Doom Dark Ages is another one of those games. Like I said, I played every Doom now, Eternal and Doom, and I still ain't beat them. But I played them and I enjoyed them. And I enjoyed the movement, the combat, and like the gameplay of it and everything. But I don't know what it is about those games that I guess I just kind of play them like in an episodic thing way. But for this one, it did pique my interest a lot more simply because of everything they were showing off and like the more horde like experience where you're kind of mowing down many of them versus taking on like enemies one by one or two by two or however they want to throw it at you. But this one just feels like it's more grand. So my initial impression when I first saw it was wow. I think that they are one of those studios now that when you see it, you pay attention because they have great tech, but they also have a great game. So, what was your initial impressions, or both of you guys' initial impression, if you did see anything about Doom when you first saw it? Did it pop? Did you think it was good? Did you think it looked at same old, same old? Let me know your thoughts.
I thought it looked really good. I
Okay.
liked the Doom games, and Doom 2016 I liked the most, and then Doom Eternal I had fun with it, but I also had issues with it. But everything that they showed for Doom Dark Ages at least got me back excited to play more Doom.
Yeah.
The different unique weapons and how they affect enemies. I don't really care too much about the story, but this is, I guess, like a prequel or something. But at least show like we'll go to different environments. You got the giant robot. They got different types of gameplay, like flying on the dragon and stuff like that. So gameplay wise, I think it'll be very fun, and I think that's the best thing about Doom. It's a old shooter franchise, but they still keep finding ways to keep it fun and modern, but still its own thing.
Hmm.
As far as like the enemy density and variety, I don't know how that's gonna be. I kind of want to see like more of a deep dive into it because Eternal was fun, but by the end of it, it became like a chore, like the combat, and
Hmm.
the combat is only what pretty much only thing that you do besides like some platforming.
Yeah.
Because Doom 2016, you just had your normal FPS weapons, you got your rocket launcher, blah blah blah, and you use them, you kill the enemies. That's it. It's pretty basic shooter. For Eternal, they tried to make it. It felt like a first-person Devil May Cry in the sense where you have 12 different weapons, but you have to use each weapon in every fight because you're gonna start the fight. It's gonna be 30 enemies in the room. Half of them you can't damage because somebody putting up a shield, so you got to use your grappling hook to go over there, kill the guy with the shield, right? And now you can hurt everybody else. Some enemies can't be hurt by certain weapons, so you got to switch back and forth between different weapons. And then all your weapons got low ammo, so after you run out of ammo, now you got to switch to the chainsaw to kill somebody so you can get more ammo. But your chainsaw needs gas, and so you got to pick up gas. And if you don't have gas, you got to like melee people to get gas or something like that. Or you low on health, and so you got to do this. So you're juggling like literally 20 different actions in every fight, and then
Hmm.
you go to the next room and he go 30 more enemies, and you go to the next room, he go 30 more enemies. It's like it was fun, and it once you got very good at it, it felt very good, but it was a chore because you fighting 30 enemies in every room, and if you die, you start in that room over. So
Yeah.
uh that
That.
was my only issue with Eternal, but I can't
Hmm.
say it was bad. It was just it was a lot, and so I think they might continue with that with Doom: The Dark Ages. So I hope. I mean, that's why I'm personally going to say I'm going to wait and see, because I don't want to um, hate on the game because I enjoy it. But if I'm not ready for that style of game, then it might be better for me to wait until I have time to like fully dedicate myself to it.
Dang. Okay. Okay.
I
What
mean,
about? Go
but
ahead.
from the trailer, it looked good.
No, 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 no. I'm not finna dispute any of this stuff didn't look good. All of it looked great. Regardless of what I think, it might not be for me, but everything looked great. Um, so Dark Ages for me, I already told you, Doom itself, I have a hard time finishing the games, but I do love what I play. It's just hard time finishing them. Regardless of what I try to do, I have a hard time finishing them. Maybe it's because of the type of game it is and how you're kind of continuously doing the same thing in a different space. But whatever it is, it does give me a hard time. But it is like one of the most polished hard times I ever played. What about you, Jalen? What about? Did you see anything about the Dark Ages?
Nah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't see anything about it.
Okay. No, no, no. I think that Doom itself is in a good space, and I think that there's a lot of hype behind it, but there's also a lot of like value behind the people that are building it. So, regardless of if I feel like it's great or not, I think that thing gonna run amazing on the Steam Deck. I think it's gonna run amazing on anything that they put it on because they know how to optimize games. So, I am looking forward to
Yeah,
trying it
some of the
out. I'm
best at
looking
optimizing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the mech, and the big old suit that you was in. I'm looking forward to flying around on some bats, or whatever it was. But I think it had a lot of new stuff that we saw with the skull crunching shotgun, like all that stuff looked pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to it. Definitely interested in seeing more. But let's move on to the next one, State of Decay 3. We didn't see this game for quite a bit of time, like a really long time, really. And last time we saw, we just saw a CGI trailer. We didn't see any gameplay. Honestly, even with this, it felt like a little trickery, but I could tell what was gameplay, what was not. Um, but it looked like the engine got a huge overhaul, like from the previous game to this game, like a pretty significant overhaul. Like some global illumination was happening there. The night scene looked a lot better and better lit. And I thought it was just a really cool way to reintroduce State of Decay with a storyline in regards to how someone can go from, what the legacy are, like how they continue on after they pass. So if you don't know, State of Decay is a open world sim like and zombie apocalypse. You send people out to
Zombie
gather.
Sims.
Yeah, zombie sims, really. You send people out to hunt, gather, and do all this other stuff. But if they die, you want to go out there and get their stuff and continue on through that journey. And I think what they're doing now is they're adding a lot of elements or story elements that really are meaningful too. And really, I like the State of Decay's formula. I really did. I really enjoyed the formula. And like I said, Karina really enjoyed the formula too. I even told her that they had a trailer. I'm slacking, but she liked the formula too. And I think that with the upgrades to the engine, the upgrades to the lighting, to the physics, I think those all accumulate to a much better experience. It could be like a Days Gone on steroids, where you're really having a lot of engagement in the world as you go throughout this immersive experience. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more about that. I don't think we got a date for that either, if I'm not mistaken, but at least they showed it off, and it's been a very long time. So State of Decay looked good for me. It looked like it was some actual value there, and if you guys don't have anything to add to it, we're gonna move on to the next. I'll leave it open.
No, it's it's a franchise that I want to, I guess, see what's interesting about it. I just haven't been grabbed so far. But yeah, so nothing to say about the.
I think it's I think it's very niche, like very like if you like The Sims, you'll like it. If you like The Sims, or if you like zombie games, you might like it because it's a very bad zombie simulator, but it's a really good management simulator. Like fun, like managing your houses and building up communities in areas and like going to visit other people in their cities or in their worlds. I think it's like cool there. So, next, Dragon Age Veilguard. So, Dragon Age Veilguard has been a very anticipated. Dragon Age obviously is I think it was almost like one of the most anticipated games to kind of be shown. And it was shown as a teaser initially at this Xbox showcase, but then they did release a 20-minute gameplay trailer. I'm not going to lie. Everybody hate it. I don't. I think it looks okay. Honestly, I think it looks fine. I'm not a big Dragon Age fan. Never was. I might go back and play the beloved games to try to get a better understanding of why the outrage is. But right now, it looks fine. It looks like a cool story in a world that I'm not familiar with. But at the same time, any game can do that. So if you're going to make a Dragon Age game, I think you have to cater to that audience. And they're not doing that, I guess. That is what I'm getting. The sentiment is online. So...
yeah. So we'll start with the trailer. The trailer looked okay. I didn't like the art style or the tone of the trailer, but I'm not gonna brag on that too much because it was just a trailer to reintroduce the game. But Dragon Age is a weird series because it came out after Mass Effect, and like Mass Effect as a franchise, I would say all of the games, even like Andromeda, have people that enjoy it. But that's because it has a consistent style where it's like it's a third-person RPG shooter, and like each one gets more shooter mechanics. It's more streamlined and it's more fun, but it's still that same style of game. But Dragon Age is weird because this is the fourth game. Technically, this is Dragon Age 4, but none of the 4 games are similar in gameplay. Like they're all RPGs, but the first one is like a top-down, like isometric kind of RPG. Like, well, not necessarily top-down, but it's more like Baldur's Gate 3, where you pause in the game, you pick your actions, you watching your team do this stuff, and it's like a real not simulator, but a tactical RPG. Dragon Age 2, they tried to copy it off Mass Effect, where they changed a whole bunch of mechanics. You got a bunch of Mass Effect mechanics, like talking to people and like picking like Paragon or Renegade. And then the gameplay is like real bad, janky, like action RPG. And then Inquisition came out where it's like, okay, we still want that janky action RPG, but we're gonna polish it up a little bit, better animations and stuff like that. But then they tried to make it like a huge open world, which like Dragon Age 2 was super linear, like you walking through corridors and mission to mission. And Inquisition is like an open world game. And so I think that's the problem where it's like a bunch of people like Dragon Age, but nobody can agree what is the good version of Dragon Age because they all like different things. And so like this now is something completely different where it's like if you like the old games, I mean, if you like one of the old games, you're not getting what you want. And what's here, it feels, I personally don't think it looks that good compared to its contemporaries. That's what I say. It's like I kind of would just prefer to play Baldur's Gate 3 or maybe another RPG. Like why would I go back to Dragon Age at this point where it feels like y'all don't know what you want to do with this series? So that's my problem. I played a couple of Dragon Age games and they're okay. But yeah, if I got $70 to spend, I might just, or if I had the time, I'd rather just play Baldur's Gate 3. And I think that's the problem.
Yep. Remember, I felt like I was gonna have time to play Baldur's Gate. Still ain't got around to that one either. But yeah, Dragon Age. Well, we could talk about that Inquisition, right, Jalen? But Dragon Age for me has always had a weird, like, I don't know. I always had a weird connection to the games. I didn't really like any of them. I didn't really play any of them. And BioWare has always been a company that has. I never understood their popularity, and every time I tried to figure it out, I could see it in Mass Effect. I could say that I see it in Mass Effect. I could see why it's popular. I could see why they have some cool storytelling, but outside of that, I haven't seen them actually shine in a way that I felt was great. So I wanted to revisit their worlds and build out their worlds and see how they look without having to kind of engage in their systems. And honestly, I think Veilguard is so different from everything else that it might just let me do that, and I don't have to deal with everything that comes along with the older game, but also can try to do something refreshing or new with the series in a new way. Now, it definitely sounds like a lot of boardroom talk because I want something new. I want it fresh. I want it to sell well, but I do feel like the more people hate this, the more interested I'm probably going to be because that tells me it's nothing like the old ones. And that's just the real. So I don't know if that is the positive because I don't think it's that many of me's out there, but at least they got something going for them. The hate is so strong that you're going, well, let me see what this is all about. Give it the benefit of the doubt. That's a funny one. But yeah. I mean, I don't really got much else to say on it. I really didn't think that it was going to get such a visceral response. I didn't think it was going to be so bad. I thought that people were actually going to like it. It's got like 1.1 million views and is #1 trending. But as Josh said, you didn't say it on stream, but I mean on the podcast. But they have like a significant ratio difference between the likes and the dislikes, right? So
yeah, the likes are hidden now, but the dislikes are in the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. It's insane because this is a big IP for EA.
Yeah, and I think that's the weird part because BioWare has a lot of clout because they made Mass Effect, they made Baldur's Gate, they made a whole bunch of good RPGs,
Well,
and so Dragon Age. But they originally made Baldur's Gate.
Oh, really? That's crazy.
Yeah, they were the original Baldur's Gate people.
Nice.
But yeah, anyways, they got a bunch of classic games that people like, but I feel like Dragon Age is not a classic series, but is just going off the BioWare name. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about it, and especially I don't like them skin tones. They need to fix those skin tones, man. But yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from that point of view. I'm not really going to give it too much of a hard time. because it's really not. It's not my place to judge them because I don't like I didn't like any of the other games. I didn't play them enough to say that either. So I did play Dragon Age Inquisition, and I I didn't hate it as much as you guys did, but I definitely.
I mean, none of us finished it, so
Yeah, we definitely did enjoy it. So it was a
Man, I
sleepy
sleep
game.
on that game anyway.
Yeah, it was sleep. It
That's
was
a
a sleepy
sleeper's
game
game.
for sure. Yeah, I tried to make it fun. We tried to make it fun. We tried to give it a shot, but most of the time we were just sleeping. So yeah,
As they had issues, why am I getting more experience? I fight this wild buffalo. I'm over here finna die, and I get 5 XP, and I go read a sign and get 50. I'm like, man, give me more signs, bro.
yeah. No. I think that is very true, and yeah, I think Baldur's Gate just does it better. So I am looking forward to getting in that on the PC at some point when it lowers in price and I got time and playing that through. Because I got it on Xbox, so I'm not gonna touch it. So that was a waste of time. Um, what else? What else? Next up. I think this is where Jalen came in. We was watching Starfield Shattered Space. And this even got some bad stuff going around it. Like the showcase went good, but then everything else around it kind of went bad. So because they are
yeah.
selling creations, like I didn't know they ever did that. I got 1,000 because I got the premium edition, and I was like, what? I didn't know you had to pay for mods, but there are some free ones, and there's something that they created, and one of theirs that they created is like 60. It's like 600 coins, and I think that's like $6. Depending on like what you're looking at, because they gave me 1,000, and that's equivalent to $10. So, um, I liked, and just so you know, Jalen, if you want to give another shot, they got a 60 FPS mode on the consoles now. So if you want to try it again,
Yes. You told
they
me.
they got that now. Plus the new DLC, and I started playing it the other day, and it's still quite good. I mean, I really like it still. So, anyways, the that came out, and a lot of people um started to get like on the forums and do their thing. Obviously, complaining about the pricing. I never got to the crux of it. I hope somebody else did, but well, I hope Josh did. But the the point that I kept seeing come up is the cost of them and how people don't like the creations at all. But I don't know. Was that the big point that they were selling, or was it the one where they were talking about DLC and this DLC that they are putting in about the bounties is the 600 coins? I don't really know.
So I think the creation kit thing it's a mixed bag. Some people like it, some people don't. The whole point is that like 10 years ago they introduced it with Skyrim and Fallout, where you can buy mods because people who make the mods are very good, but they don't get paid. So this is a way to pay them, and so it's kind of up to individuals if you prefer it or not. Me personally, I just like to get free mods on PC. But yeah, I understand if somebody put in a lot of work, you maybe want to tip them or give them something like that. But that's a whole thing where I don't think it's a definitive answer. But also with the DLC that Bethesda made, now they're selling individual quests for $7, and I
Yes.
think that's the biggest problem because one, they didn't say that in the presentation. It was like, oh, we got a new quest coming out today. It was like, okay, it's a free quest. I'll hop online and play it. If CD Projekt Red said they got a new quest, that means it's free. And now Bethesda, they're doing the same thing, right? No, we're charging you $7 for one quest. And it's a issue with RPG where it's like quests are the whole point of it. I understand, like, if you have like DLC sort of expansion or something like that, we go on to a different place, we got some new content, we want some money from that. But yeah, this seems to be like a small quest line and then charging $7. And it just leaves a bad taste, I guess, for a lot of people who want more, who expect more from Bethesda. I feel like Starfield was fun. It had a lot of content, but it has a lot of issues still. And so not addressing those issues first before you start selling more paid DLC is going to turn people off, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. I think it's not that important. Like this quest line, maybe you can just forget about it and not play it. You don't have to play it, maybe. But again, I understand it for the people who are really into this game or fan base, make them have a bad taste in the mouth. Versus the Shattered Space DLC actually looked pretty good. I don't know how expensive that is. It might be like $20-$30 or something like that. But that's an expansion I'm willing to pay for. But yeah, I personally would never pay $7 for like a small quest.
Me neither. And the only reason I was even entertaining it, but I'd rather have the houses and let somebody else get that money. It was like a 2-pack that I saw that I liked. It was that one that Bethesda made, and then there was one about like build your own house. So that was one of those things I thought was cool. But they're all mods, so I'm just like, yeah, I will. I guess in my eyes, I thought I saw it as a plus to allow people to create and continue to make money because I didn't know about this creation program. But at the same time, when I saw Bethesda name next to a content, I was like, that ain't good. So that was where my concern lied too.
Yeah, that being said, there's still a bunch of free mods online for like the PC version, but the creation kit is the only way to get mods on console. And so that's the I guess the kicker. If you want to play on console and you want mods, you got to pay for it. Whereas if you get on PC, you don't have to.
Well, you don't have to pay for all the mods. You have to pay for the ones people want to sell. I think there's plenty of them down there that weren't on sale. They just had a zero price, and which is cool. To be able to have mods on console, and I'm playing the PC Game Pass version, so I don't really interact with mods that often because simply it's a lot to kind of keep recreating them when they do updates and everything versus how it is on the actual Steam version where it's not that complicated. So that is where I was like, okay, that's cool, that's interesting. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Next up from Bethesda, Fallout 76. We can skip right past that. I don't care. Do you care, Josh? Do you want to talk about it?
Nope.
All right, moving on. Expedition 33. Expedition 33 was a really cool looking JRPG. It was like real time. No, not real time. It was JRPG with like turn based, and it had like a ton of different elements to it. But it reminded me of Persona, but like much cleaner. Like not cleaner as in like Persona's clean, but it's like a more high fidelity Persona. And it had like counters, and you had timing, and you had other things that kind of add into it. But the way that menu popped out at you when you kind of go in to look for your spells and skills and all that stuff, I thought they did a really good job with the animations and the style of the whole show. The whole trailer is just getting into the story components that I was interested in getting a little bit more of a glimpse of. But I'm gonna stop there, so I don't want to take up all the air. Josh, Jalen, what y'all think about 33 Immortal? Is that up your alley? Would you give it a shot? Talk to me.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot because it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
But so yeah, 33 Immortals. I think it's made by a French studio somewhere in France. But this is their French Persona style game. They got the flashy menus. It's turn-based RPG, but they also have like Mario RPG mechanics where you select your attack and then it has like a quick time event or some timing to it, so you can do bonus damage or something like that. So it looked very cool, a very cool hybrid of different ideas. And these, I guess, a game like this we don't see that often. I feel like it was a lot of games like this that like merged a lot of ideas back in like the PS2 era, but now to get it in modern times is interesting because it stands out versus a lot of games who have a very rigid style. Like you know what you're gonna
Yeah.
get from Fire Emblem, you know what you're gonna get from other RPGs. Whereas this, we're gonna mix a lot of stuff in the pot. So yeah, that being said, it looked very interesting. I'm not personally interested in the world or like characters. Like I think
You
they
don't like
look
the
kind of
concept of that? I think it's cool with the everybody die at a certain age. I like the
no. I
concept.
mean that's fine. I guess what I mean is like I think the characters look weird.
Generic.
Uh,
Oh.
No, not generic. I don't know how to describe it, and I don't want to be wrong about what I'm saying. But if in Europe, there are different art styles. Like maybe there's a classic movie that like Ghibli from Japan. And we want to copy what Ghibli
Oh.
looks like, or we want to copy what Dragon Ball Z looks like. And I feel like the character style is a reference to something, but I personally don't like how they look. That
Mm-hmm.
being said, well, a lot of RPGs is about the aesthetic. Like I like how the characters in Persona look,
Right.
but everything else that they show in the trailer makes me interested in at least checking it out. I'm not sure if I'll fall in love with what they built, but they put a lot of work into it and it looks good. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, to me it definitely was a standout of the show. I felt like there was a lot of
Oh wait, what's the name of the game?
Expedition 33.
Expedition 33. Because there's another game called 33 Immortals, and I think I
Yeah,
might have
that's
said that
the
by mistake.
yeah, that was the other one. That's another one of those like multiplayer games, but this is just more so a and visually it's striking. I like the visual striking, but I really think the concept of a cool monster world where this thing is kind of manipulating the world in this way is really cool concept to explore. And I really thought that would be cool to kind of it's like a different perspective on a Persona game to me at least. Where yeah, it's still like I don't know, young people going out to save the world, but from a perspective of everybody knows what's going to happen. So I just want to see how that looks and what they kind of do with that in the world they tell or build with it. I think it might be one of those standout games for sure, especially how stylistic it is and um, simply how different it is right now. So I'm expecting good things from this. I'm hoping for good things, but you can always be wrong. But that's my expectation at least. Did you check anything out for 33 Immortals, Jalen? Don't want to leave you out.
No, I think I came to it later.
Yeah. I think you came in right at South of Midnight when we were talking about what's the next game we're
The
gonna be talking
alligator.
about? Yeah, the alligator and stuff. So, South of Midnight. Uh Another one of those games for me that I've been anticipating and wanting to kind of see more of, and thought that it looks really really cool. But before I kind of jump into every topic, I don't want to do that. I guess I'll let you guys give your thoughts before I. But yeah, what do you guys think about South of Midnight when you saw it? Trailer, gameplay, new gameplay. I mean,
Uh, yeah, it's a very interesting world. South. I forget what state they're in. I don't know if they said, but yeah. Um, more Black South mythology and characters and folklore. So the world is very interesting. So I like the design where you have an alligator that's an island, but it's also like a monster type thing. So
mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see what they can do with exploring that world. Gameplay wise, I didn't notice it at first, but a lot of people pointed out it's a lot of similarities to Spider-Man, like swinging around.
Yeah,
And she can like glide, like the last Spider-Man game, you can glide. So, like all that to say, the gameplay it looked okay. I don't think it's gonna be like a Devil May Cry-ish style game or anything like that. But as long as the
yeah,
gameplay is interesting enough, but it's building up the story and the world and the characters, that's what I'm interested in. The animation style looked good, so I want to see more of the game. I don't know if they gave a release date for it or not, but I'm looking forward to it.
yeah. I think it definitely says something around 2025. I thought, but I could be wrong. I thought that said this is 2025 slated.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, this is this is definitely a standout. And I think our biggest talk was around this, Jalen, was the motion and how two things aren't on the same level of motion, and it kind of was throwing you off a little bit. Um, but yeah, you want to
I
talk
didn't
about
see
what you
all of it.
saw
I
in the
just seen
game?
something real brief.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the cinematics are like 24 frames, or I forget, but it's a lower frame rate to match something you would see like in a cartoon or something. They did the same thing in Spider-Verse, so a lot of people are doing that now. But the gameplay can't be 24 frames, or else you get have a headache. So the gameplay is 30 FPS or 60 FPS, whatever they're targeting. So switching from cutscenes, there might be a little bit of disconnect with the animation.
Mm. Yeah, I think he
I
was
think the
looking at it as well.
characters' animation as well are a lower. How to explain it easily? The game frame rate is 30, but the characters animate at a different frame rate, so the characters don't look as smooth, but the world and the camera is smooth.
Hmm.
Um, so if you ever played with like the Spider Verse suit in the Spider Man games, it does the same thing where the suit is animating at like 12 frames, but the game is 60. Uh, I mean, if you play with it long enough, like 5-10 minutes, you won't actually notice it. It's just, yeah, it's jarring when you first see it.
Yeah, and I think it was a cut scene, and we were looking at something. We're going at 60, and the other thing was going at a lower frame rate because that was her animation. But yeah, from what you saw, at least, Jalen, did you think it would looked good? Did you think it looked cool? Did you think it was interesting, or was it pretty indifferent?
Uh, I mean, I was pretty indifferent.
Okay.
I,
Yeah,
I barely seen it. It was like they was recapping like some of the trailers or something like that. So I missed
a
most of it.
lot
I
of
just
it.
seen somebody flying past the alligator, and the alligator reminded me of, or whatever that monster thing was, reminded me of when you get too far away from somebody in Dark Souls and they start operating at a lower frame rate. Like
Hmm.
that's what it was given. So
Yeah. But yeah, it's another one of those day one on Game Pass. I don't believe it gave a date actually. I'm just trying to double check.
of course it did, and none of them did.
2025.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there's a lot of like, I guess there's a lot of. I love the variety that I saw today. I mean, that day I felt like it was just a really good variety of games, but good quality on that. Even if I'm indifferent about playing them, which I'm not about this, it was good quality all the way around. So I'm really happy with what they showed. I'm really happy with the gameplay that they saw. I saw, and coming to Game Pass per usual, man, per usual. Um, but yeah, let's move on to the next if we don't have nothing to add there. And the next one would be World of Warcraft. I'm not interested. Josh, go
Yep.
ahead. Have anything for me?
No, I don't
All
play
right.
World of Warcraft. Nothing.
Jalen, anything from Jaleel? Was he excited?
you don't care about no Warcraft.
Okay. Cool. Nobody cares, but a lot of people like it. So, watch that at your own leisure. But sorry, nobody on this podcast cares. Honestly, I've never played a game of World of Warcraft. I don't even know what it looks like to play it. So, sorry. Um, moving on. I did see a cool story about World of Warcraft where they were selling their old servers, and somebody in a wedding was able to get like a guild, were able to get a old server that they played on in their world, and they had a whole guild kind of sign it, and they presented it to the bride and groom because they met on World of Warcraft as well in their guild,
Mhm.
which I thought was really sweet and cool. So nice story in regards to some gaming fanfare. But next up, that sweet Konami. Um, they decided to do the right thing and not change nothing. Not even the B everybody was talking about this, the US Army on top of his helmet, and how it's supposed to be one of those missions where you're not supposed to let people know
Yeah,
who you
it's
are,
supposed to be
where
a
you are.
spy. Yeah.
Yeah, but he got literally U.S. Army on his helmet when he's dropping in, and they left it in there too. Because I think that was like some old thing where people were like laughing about it, but they left it in there because they didn't want to change nothing, and that's a good thing. Because what I saw, I really liked. Um, and I honestly, this is the only one I ever beat. Me and Sean. So I do have like a little bit of a nostalgic feel when I watch it. Um, Talk to me, guys. What about this Metal Gear? Good, bad, indifferent.
They need a release date.
They got a release date. I think it was November 2024. At least GameStop leaked it. November. It's supposed to be like
They said that was an error.
they said it was an error.
Yeah.
People are saying that it's like the 10-year or 20-year anniversary of it or something like that.
It might be the real date, but it's not official.
Gotcha.
You know.
Okay, we're not gonna pretend like it is. Then what I'll say is that continue with they need a release date. I mean, I get that. Anything else you saw in the trailer that you thought was pretty cool or was like, it might need to be better?
I mean, not specifically. I mean, I just want to be able to play updated Metal Gear Solid game. I feel like that's all I ever be wanting to do, but they just don't make the games updated. Like they get ports and just other stuff like that. So I never actually beat a Metal Gear Solid, like I said, besides the fourth one. So I'm hoping this would give me opportunity to beat this one. So I didn't see like a whole lot about the game, and I don't really need to. I'm gonna just go play it when it come out because I was trying to play it like last year, and I was getting annoyed by the controls.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think that was one of your biggest things is about the controls and stuff. So I wonder what they'll do there in regards to everything. Obviously, camera wise, I don't know if I don't think it's going to be the same the way it was previously. So we'll see. But anything else, Josh?
Honestly, no, not really. I beat 3 multiple times, so for me, I have to justify buying the remake to see if it's worth it. It looks okay. My only issue is like art style wise, I kind of feel like Metal Gear Solid 5 looks better, but this is better lighting, so I don't know. And yeah, not much to say really. The trailer for me didn't show a whole lot of stuff I'm care about.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think you guys have a different experience from me in regards to Metal Gear, so totally understandable. I thought that was a really great trailer. I thought that was it spoke to their level of confidence with the game, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the environments and the levels from the trailer look like they're going to be the same, but there was one part of the trailer that did kind of impress me, and I guess he was walking in the water through a cave, and it was the cave that's above you that was very big, and that type of environment they didn't have on the PS2. Like they couldn't make a huge cave with a whole bunch of water that you're walking through.
Gotcha.
It would have been like a simple corridor. So I feel like that was a good expansion of the game. And I guess for me, I guess what I was hoping in my head was like a Blue Point remake where they take the original idea and just like, completely redo it and blow it up into a way it's like you never imagined it could look this good. And it looks okay. I'm not gonna say it looks bad, but it wasn't what I was expecting of like a Blue Point quality remake. This is a nice update to the game. They got better textures, better graphics overall. But I guess I wanted to see more if you're gonna do it with this game. That's all.
Okay, that's an interesting take.
Yes, it
do
is.
do I agree? I don't think so. But your take is your take. So nobody cares about Sea of Thieves, right?
No.
All right. Well, Sea of Thieves come out with more stuff. Go pick it up if you enjoy it. But then we got into Flintlock. And this is a game that I honestly, it was been on my radar for the entire time that it was like been launched, but honestly, it still feels like another, and I don't want to put it in this bucket because it's another Black League, but Forspoken, where yeah, it might look good, but it might not be a great game. But I'm hoping that because I don't want to do that to every character that looks like her or whatever, or how this Bond, like this flashy of the combat, but it's really not that
Why?
deep.
Why Forspoken?
Why Forspoken? Simply because of the well, you have this spiritual element on you. Well, I don't know if you play Forspoken. Forspoken has a spiritual element on you, and you're doing combat in the real world scenarios, and they're talking to you as you do these things, and they're interacting with the world. So the individual themselves doesn't speak that much, but this thing on you does, and that is the same thing what you're getting with this spirit that's around you all the time. And you're being the combat person. You're having fun with the combat, but is the story really driving you to have a fun, engaging story? And it's like it's out for revenge. Forspoken was a similar way. Once she got pulled into it, it was like she was this special being that nobody wanted around. So it was anyways, it felt like a lot of similarities as I was watching it and talking about like that part. But that's why I'm thinking Forspoken. I wouldn't say that like the level of quality is on Forspoken's level or something like that. I think it's just more so too many similarities to the point where I feel like I played this game before, if that makes sense. But I don't want to do that, so I didn't want to bring it up like that. But what I will say is that what they have going for this is in the first 40 seconds, I kind of felt like this character seemed like she had more, I guess, bite on her problem in the world, and it wasn't like this weird person coming into the world and having to explore it in this strange like way where it didn't connect with me. So I like that she's already a part of the world. I like that she's fighting gods, and I like that there's a lot of variety that they showed off in the combats and what you're fighting. Um, I don't know if I want to do another puzzle like open world type game like that again, but I don't know. What did you get from the vibes of Flintlock?
I thought it looked very good, and that's why I was. I mean, what I was saying, you're not the first person to say it, Forspoken, but that's what I was confused about because the gameplay is nothing like Forspoken to me. Like, it's not a puzzle game; it's a Dark Souls like game. We're walking through a town, you fighting skeleton dudes with melee combat, and you got a gun. So it's
Right.
not like a open world exploration and jumping around like Forspoken. Uh, so yeah, from what I've seen, they showed this. My bad. They showed a trailer for this game before a couple years ago, and it looked very interesting. And for me, it looks still very good. The story trailer that they had, yeah, introduced you to the world. She's working with the little fox thing.
Hmm.
It gives her some magic abilities. But for me, it was, I guess, the more of the variety of doing some melee combat, jumping around, shooting these skeleton dudes with like your shotgun or blunderbuss, whatever she got, and then you can mix it with like some magic too. So you got like a magic shotgun. So it seemed very interesting take on like the Souls games or Souls like games, like
Right.
the Surge. Didn't the Surge have a gun as well? So like yeah,
Yes.
it's a Souls like game, but you have a gun, and so that's an interesting style, and I feel like they're doing it in a flashy way. It graphically is not the most impressive, or whatever, but their style I feel like is showing, which that's what I appreciate. Where it's
Yeah,
not just like a cookie cutter copy of something else.
I agree, and I think that's what kind of caught. And maybe I just got that feeling of because of that. And but I do think this looks like way more polished and more of an entertaining ride versus a entertaining explore. Like this is an entertaining ride, like on the rails, God of War like. You're going through scenarios and you're having a great time getting through scenarios versus that open world excitement that just falls to the wayside because you're just traveling a desolate and boring world. So I do feel like that is all going in the right direction. I just don't know how streamlined it truly is yet. Because I mean, you could
Well,
you've seen it, but honestly, I don't know. Do you think that it's not going to be open world?
no, like looking at the gameplay, it's not. It doesn't
Okay,
look open world. Like I haven't seen like a full breakdown, but the levels seem pretty linear. Like you walk in on like a cliff, it's a single row, and you fight enemies. Like it's not
gotcha.
a big open field. But what I'll say is that I think this game was in like early access at some point, but I looked on Steam and the demo out for it. So I'll play the demo and we'll have more impressions later.
Oh, the demo's out for it.
Yeah, the demo is out on PC.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
And the game comes out in 5 weeks. So
yes.
it's a very close release. But yeah, it looked interesting for me. It's a weird niche title, but I liked their idea, so I want to see if they can deliver on it.
Okay. Well, I'll download it too then. I mean, that's pretty simple answer right there of what it'll play like. Surprisingly, it's only $35, so you might be absolutely right that it's not. Yeah, you might be. Yeah, that doesn't scream big open world so good. Yeah, you're right. I'm tripping. Uh, but okay, what next? What next? You got anything to add to Flintlock, Jalen? Did you see that game with the black girl?
Yeah, I heard you say something about it, but I didn't see it for
You didn't see it. Okay.
real. Uh-uh.
I thought you was be all over it. She looked like Bangalore. No, just
You say MJB.
MJV. Nah, I think she looks really cool though. I like her design. I'm glad they gave her like some real looking braids versus like. Never mind. Let's continue. Um, Age of Mythology. It do we know about this game? Do y'all have anything about this game?
My bad. What was the game?
Age of Mythology.
No, never played it. It's a RTS, but it's a remake of an old game. But what I would say, at least, it seems interesting because, like, I play Halo Wars, and I don't like RTSs that much. But to have one where you have a bunch of abilities, where you can like make earthquakes and windstorms and stuff like that, might be fun. But yeah, it's a genre I'm not that big on. What about y'all?
Gotcha.
Have y'all played like Halo War or anything like this, or Civilization?
No, honestly, it's not my type of cup of tea, and I wish we had somebody that did have this type of interest, but honestly, no, I don't really play these games, and I saw a lot of excitement around it, but you know, it ain't my jam, so I ain't gonna pretend that it is.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I am interested in downloading it on Game Pass
Okay,
because I want to see what it's like. You have your little sim characters and you have them fight, and then you just throw an earthquake down and see what happens. Like just to play around on the map. I guess I'm not gonna finish the campaign.
gotcha. Okay, all right. Well, what we got next? What we got next? Perfect Dark. Woo-wee. Um, you know what? I'm gonna shut up because Josh surprised me every day. What do you think about Perfect Dark, Josh?
And it
Talk
looked
to me.
horrible. It's like actually it looked interesting because there's been a lot of rumors. I think there was a big one from like a video game reporter that this game was in like trouble, like they were having
Yeah.
issues with making it and stuff like that. But I was actually surprised it looked very good. It's
Hmm.
a mixture of like a Deus Ex and like Mirror's Edge type game where it's a first person game and you're going around sneaking and doing stuff in different buildings. But the Deus Ex element, you have a lot of gadgets where you can hack things and you can kind of plan out different routes where you don't have to do like the mission like one sort of way. Kind of, it's more open. So that's very cool. And to come to find out that the Initiative, which is one of Microsoft's new studios, they're working with Crystal Dynamics, and they made Tomb Raider, I think, and they helped with some of the Deus Ex games as well. So it's good to see that they're working together to make the game, because I think Crystal Dynamics is talented. And I thought they shut down, honestly, because they were kind of a part of the they were sold off like twice in the last 3 years or something like that. So anyways, I hope Crystal Dynamics is doing all right. But back to the game. The gameplay looked good. The graphics looked interesting. I'm not a big fan of the Perfect Dark series. Like the first two games, they were kind of just like a 007 style game on the old consoles. But this here, it feels unique. So I'm interested in seeing more. What about you guys?
For Perfect Dark, for me, I guess I just like the creepy ending. And I really like the Deus Ex aspects of it. So I was very engaged. I thought it was really cool. I thought that they did a really fantastic job graphically, and I thought that impressed. So I am looking forward to it simply from those three things. Where Deus Ex vibes. I've been looking to kind of get into a Deus Ex game because I never beat those other ones, but I like the espionage. Like I don't know. I don't know. I forget what they call them. Is it like a sim? Immersive sim. But there's like Hitman and all that stuff. That's what I like, and I like that I don't have to kill everything approach to it. So I'm definitely intrigued. So I'm definitely gonna give it a shot, regardless of when it comes out, because it's it's on Game Pass. Um, let's talk about that disgusting, and more disgusting. Wait, Jalen, did you see Perfect Dark?
Yeah, I seen it.
Okay. Any
It
highlights
was
from it?
uh I mean, not specifically. I thought it was just cool that, Perfect Dark is making like a return. I feel like we was played a lot about, with the gears, the Halo and all that type of stuff. But because I think the last time we had was Perfect Dark Zero, and that was like at the start of the 360 era. Me and Julie used to love playing that game. I mean, why ain't you gonna say we used to love playing it? We liked it, the demo, and we used to. I think it was. I don't know if it was. We might. No, it might actually been a game. But I think it was the game. We didn't have a demo because we was playing a multiplayer. But we used to enjoy playing that a little bit. I mean, granted, we was younger and stuff like that, but it's nice to see that it returned, and you got an Xbox exclusive, and like it actually looked pretty good. I mean, I'm not saying it was like anything that was like groundbreaking or anything like that, but it actually looked pretty good. And I'm like, I mean, I might actually get that game a try. So, granted, I got Game Pass, but yeah.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear. I think that there's a lot of. I think that's the theme of this whole thing, bro. I think I have variety. They just got left to like please on somebody. Somebody to play something. That's what I got from it. Because it wasn't like, even if like neither one of y'all played God of War Ragnarok yet, right? So, and that's one of their bigger games, and they only put like 6 of them out, so it's tough. It's a tough sale on like, okay, if I don't like none of your flagship games, what am I buying a PS5 for? Japanese games? It's just like, okay, now that Microsoft has that ability to put those games on theirs now, it's tough. It's a tough out. That's all I'm getting at. It's a tough out. So I'm glad that they put in the effort into a bunch of different studios, and it seemed like they're actually trying. Versus, I don't know how long these games are, but I would hope they wouldn't be like 10 hours a piece. I would hope they would be large open world sims or enjoyable simulation games. So that's really what I was getting from everything, and that's a good to see. But the most grossest thing I ever seen in my life was this Diablo trailer. Probably the grossest thing I ever watched, bar none. I've watched some gross stuff, but this was like so gross. I don't know if you saw it, but I know me and Jalen saw it because we was like, "What the heck is we watching at the same time?" And I almost threw up a little bit, but it was just like how they were spreading her arms and the skeleton coming out. I just felt like, bro, what is this? So they did a really good job of making me not like this enemy or whatever it is, but it's It's very cinematic. It's very cool. I just feel like I don't know. I haven't been able to get into the Diablo's scene yet, and I think that's simply because of just not having nobody to play it with. But yeah, I just haven't jumped in yet. But I feel like they're doing a great job with creating the aura and the narrative of like dark and creepy. This is real world people or real people getting doing stupid stuff by trusting demons and like I think all of it fits and I think it fits well. So yeah, I thought it was
Hey, I'm
gross.
glad I seen that because I'm definitely not downloading that game. Y'all been hearing Deontay want me to download this game for the past 2 podcasts. That game ain't got a chance, bro. That might went from 0 to -100. I ain't letting that thing touch my console.
Oh my
Might
god.
it might split in half itself. Like Shorty arm. That's over with.
Oh my
BBQ
goodness.
chicken, bro.
Yeah, it was pretty gross, man. But I'm glad that they were sitting on all cylinders. What do you think about that trailer, Josh? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was gross. I feel like all their trailers are like that. But yeah, it goes to a new level of grossness.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, it was fine. I don't think it was needed because Diablo doesn't look anything like that.
Yeah.
So I don't. I mean, it's nice that it was there. It's a game that's doing well, but I don't have any information about the new expansion. For example, like they said, we got a new class coming, and I didn't
Yeah.
get any information about that from the trailer. So
Yeah.
it's whatever for me.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get to explore a more bright world in this like weird space, but maybe not. I don't think so. But I am looking forward to seeing some gameplay of somebody else play it because I don't think I'm gonna get around to it. So that'd be the cool. But next up, probably my favorite thing shown. Yeah, it is my favorite thing shown, but they have so much. Fable. Fable was shown and it had that very marquee office feel where you got the this moving zoom in camera and it's like funny jokes being told and somebody's being interviewed and they're cutting back to the scenes. I really like the aspect of Fable and how they are doing this. My only concern with all of it was I think there's going to be a large lack of variety in the gameplay, and it might be more similar to a God of War or a Uncharted than a Fable game. What is your thoughts, or what are y'all thoughts on striking out from variety and um, that, and going to a more linear approach to storytelling and all of that? What are your thoughts?
Um, yeah, from the trailer, I don't get a whole lot of sense of what the actual minute to minute gameplay is gonna be like. The cutscenes look good, and of course, you're gonna have a lot of interesting characters. But I don't know what they're gonna do if they just do what they did with the old games, which is just kind of make it a fun action third person RPG. I think that's all that really matters. It doesn't have to go the way of like a Harry Potter where you got like a huge amount of spells or something like that. But I don't know. I feel like Fable is established, and as long as they stick to the old Fable formula, just make it feel good, people will be happy.
Do you think that Fable in this world would work? I guess that's what I'm asking because I never played them, right? My thought was when I looked at it was that these were simulations of like immerse. I thought it was more chaotic. You can make choices, you can kill people, stuff like that. Is that not what that game is?
Um, so it's not a simulation, and how do you explain it? And so the old Fable games, they have some sort of simulation or like Sims element to it
Mm,
that they were trying to put into it, but that came later. Like the first Fable game was just a normal RPG. You got magic and stuff like that, but you could be good or evil, and you get different spells depending on if you're good or evil. So that was the basic game. Fable 2 they took that same formula, made it more fun. They added guns, and so the combat is better. And then you can also marry people and have kids and stuff like that. But all that happened inside the town. Outside of the town, you just walk around shooting werewolves and stuff. Like, it's very simple, action RPG. I'm trying to think of something that's similar that we played, but I feel like there are a lot of games of that same style that we have now. I just can't think of one right now. And then Fable 3 is kind of when they tried to really build up the Sims element, where you could build a town and you can buy houses and you could like do a whole bunch of stuff. And I think that was the one that people didn't really like, because it kind of took away from the core, which is just, I want to go out, shoot werewolves, shoot vampires, go into a dungeon, open up chests, and like get stronger. So going back to the original idea of just having a adventure game, I think that formula is kind of established, and it can be pretty simple. It doesn't have to be like a God of War where you're doing a whole lot of story stuff. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, they've shown off the game a lot, but we still haven't seen the combat or other stuff. So it's kind of their fault for not actually showing what the gameplay is going to be like. But yeah, I don't see anything that's too out of the ordinary so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jalen, did you play the Fable games? Entertain them or no?
I ain't played none of the Fable games.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. I think this is like a very...
Oh, did you play what's that game? Amalur? Kingdoms of Amalur or something like that?
Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that game because it came out, the remake of it, not too long ago. It's Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning was a Xbox One game that came out not too long ago. But anyways, yeah, there are other games like this that have come out. We just, I guess, are not that into it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Kingdoms of Amalur. I think that was like an EA game or something.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember that game. But what I wanted to get to before that was just that simply Fable looks entertaining in general. Whatever it looks like at the end of it, it looks entertaining to me. I like the style, I like the wit, I like the humor, I like the design, and I'm interested in seeing what that world generates as in variety. So, it was my game of the show simply due to the type of game it is. So, anywho's, let's keep it moving because I think we're gonna just cover this because we don't got no time really. So, Frag Punk, Jalen, this is the only thing that I got a response from, as in he thought it'd be interesting to kind of check out, but this was the game where you can change the type of gameplay by cards. I don't know if this is coming straight to Game Pass, but did you see it, Josh? What do you think about this? I think that the concept
nothing
cool?
to say about it. No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a hero shooter, but their
Yeah.
gimmick is they have cards. I personally think it might make some interesting situations, but I wouldn't personally play it, because if it's a hero shooter like Overwatch, I wouldn't want a card to give everybody big heads and then all of a sudden I'm dead because I'm easy to get shot. But I don't think it's meant to be super competitive. It's meant to be more fun, but it is a 5v5 shooter. So,
Yep. And it's coming to Xbox PC, I'm pretty sure PlayStation, but it's not going to Game Pass. Any thoughts on that, Jalen? Or why you were interested in it?
No, it just looked like it was a little something different. So, I mean, it looks like it's colorful and stuff like that. They got the right music. I mean, you know.
Remember what happened with Hyperscape? We thought it was colorful and different too.
And that game is made by Ubisoft. That game's got a disadvantage before I know it.
Let's have some fun. All right, we're going to skip a lot of stuff and we're going to go straight into Indiana Jones. Indy. Good old Indy. Did this storyline or like moment help you at all, Josh? I know you said you were not so interested. But to me, I guess it definitely helped me sell the Indy, feel. I already know what indie feel is, honestly, but it kind of just was like what their take on it is going to look like. I guess to me, what it did was it made me realize that they definitely have a high production value. I didn't think it was going to be that big, to be honest, at the beginning, and that they are going all out with the first person aspect, and the animations got a ton better from the last time I saw 'em. What were your perspectives on the Indiana Jones showcase or trailer?
So the story trailer that they had. So yeah, I personally I don't care. The story trailer looked good. It was what I was impressed by is that it yeah definitely felt like a scene from one of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
The actors are doing well. They fit the characters, and especially like the German characters, they were weird and quirky, but villains as well. So yeah, it felt definitely like something you would see in an Indiana Jones movie, which is good. So I think Indiana Jones fans will be happy from that portrayal. Um, Otherwise, yeah, I'm not really that interested in this game myself, as far as like the gameplay and overall style of it. But it looks good.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I already said it. I feel like it got a lot better the next time I saw it versus the first time I saw it. Presentation wise, animations, I felt like it was a lot more cleaner, and I felt like the cuts and the sequencing of everything looked a lot better. So I'm definitely sold on playing it, regardless of how I feel about the first person, format or whatever. I'm sold on at least giving it a shot, because I feel like the production is there and I feel like the quality is there. So I'll give it a shot. Jalen, anything on indie?
No, not for real. I mean, the same stuff we had talked about before. I mean, I thought it looked nice. I thought it looked good. I mean, it was definitely giving Uncharted. I don't really. I mean, I might play it or something like that. I ain't got no strong intentions on playing it.
Mm-hmm.
I might as well just call it X-Charted.
Extraordinary. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, that stuff is derived from indie, so we'll see what they do with it. I feel like indie, um, at the first person view at least, was going to set itself apart. But Mecha Break, did you have any thoughts on that, Josh? Because I didn't. I thought it was Gundam. Jalen had to tell me I was being slow. So,
I
I
mean,
ain't use that
it's
word. So.
definitely
no, you call me slow, but go ahead.
yeah, it's definitely meant to be all part of that Gundam multiplayer style. I don't play those Gundam multiplayer games because they tend to fit in like a Naruto Storm, where it's kind of uh, cookie cutter, where they kind of follow the same formula. But the whole point is you got a bunch of different characters to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mecha Break, it seemed this is not Gundam; it's a different studio. They're doing their own thing. It seemed okay. It's a multiplayer robot battle game. I don't know how many players. It looks like a lot, like 6v6 or something like that. So
Yeah.
I'll try it because I like mechs, I like robots, and it could be fun. But from the trailer, I don't have much to say about it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's not a Armored Core, which is more of a single player robot game that also has multiplayer. I think this is only multiplayer focused. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Not really much to say on that. Obviously, I'm not that big of a fan, but hopefully it's an audience out there for someone. Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. Unfortunately, they did not provide any gameplay, so I'm really not going to talk about it. It looked like another game, I guess. What do you,
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't even remember which one you're talking about because there are a lot of games that are Asia
yeah,
inspired that kind of blend together because they're all doing similar things.
similar things. Yep. So I'm not going to talk too much on it. But they showed a very small snippet of gameplay, and it wasn't really enough to kind of judge it at all. So, what I'll say is that it looks like they're trying for the Dark Souls Neo aspect of it, but with a lot more cinematics, and it could be a strong showing at some point. But for me right now, I just got enough of those. Jalen might have hinted at a Bloodborne ish game because of
Oh,
like a
the
lot of
Bloodborne one
blood.
with the
Yeah,
girl. Okay.
nothing is
Yeah.
forever. Yeah, Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. Yep, and that's coming to Game Pass in 2025 too. So good one. But we'll talk about it when we get more information about dang, to go from hero to zero. Like I don't really care about this game at all anymore. I'm not gonna lie to you. It fell off the wayside for me. But give me your thoughts on Avowed.
I thought the trailer was actually good, and they
Okay.
also had a 30-minute demo that came out later, and I think about is looking pretty good. Because my issue is that I didn't know what to expect because this is kind of supposed to be Obsidian Skyrim, and Skyrim is very big and
Yeah.
open world and you explore. But what the trailer that they show in the showcase, the story seems interesting. The different factions trying to get you to join their side, and they're talking about like the world, and there's like a different dream world that's also there. So it
Mm.
seemed intriguing and not just a cookie cutter world, kind of like Skyrim, where there, dragons and magic and stuff. Something that you come to expect. This seems different. So I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I think this game has to live up to a lot of expectations, both in like sales and like how people like it. But I think what they have here is going to be fun. From what I've seen from their little gameplay demo with the class switching, you can do it on the fly, where you got your sword and shield, and you switch over to a different class in the middle of combat. But the story is going to be the biggest thing that makes it good, and that's what Obsidian is good at. So.
Gotcha. Two things that I wanted to mention as well was Atom Fall and Stalker 2. I think they both look good. I really don't have much else to say on them outside of they're anticipated, and hopefully people out there that are enjoying those games or seeing those games are going to continue to support them as they come to fruition. But we don't have much time to talk about them. So if you want to check those out, make sure you look those over. But the next one we're going to actually speak on is that Gears. That Gears. I mean, Assassin's Creed was there, but I would rather do that on the Ubisoft talk, and that's going to have to be next week. So, Gears. Honestly, I was happy, but also mad because I wanted them to kind of finish the story. And I also wanted to see a little gameplay. It's been away a long time. I would thought you had gameplay ready. But when I saw that it was E-Day and we were going to go back to a world that is falling, it got me really excited for that game because honestly, I love the first Gears more than any of the rest of them. And I think I love that one more is because I was coming into the world as it was already broken. I didn't have any background to it. And I like played the Ultimate Edition again recently, and I kind of still felt that same way. I don't know, but I always felt like that one was like a big moment. But the rest of them, I just felt like, yeah, I played them though. So I'm super excited to go before that and see what it looks like in a new engine, and kind of have that world bending locust enemies coming out, buff dudes. Coming out from under the ground to try to kill us. I really want to see how that impacts the world and what that story is told like. I feel like it just got a lot more to work with versus kind of going forward and me having to deal with her being a locust herself and being connected to the world. I don't know. I was kind of torn and excited at the same time. Obviously, I think you played Gears 5, but I don't know if you resonated with the story enough. What were your thoughts when you saw E-Day?
You want to take this one, Jalen? I know you played Gears 1.
I ain't even played Gears the whole time.
You ain't play Gears 1?
I thought you, or did you play the multiplayer of 3?
I played 3.
Okay. Well, I played Gears 1 and it was fun, but I've never been into the Gears franchise, but they do occupy a interesting space where like third-person cover shooters. They were kind of the first ones to like, I wouldn't say the first, but one of the first ones to make it very popular. So it was very cool. And going back to the classic Gears style, the Locust and the characters like Dom and Marcus, that's cool. I think that's probably what the franchise needs right now, because as far as story wise, I feel like it was kind of for me, I didn't see how they could keep going with like the story. I know you can bring up more factions and like do some interesting like changes with like, you know, the girls, the Locust and stuff like that. But just going back to the simple, dumb, big buff Locust and maybe have General Ram make a cameo. That's probably the best thing to do for the franchise at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, not much to say about it. I don't find Gears gameplay that interesting, but hopefully they can do something different where it's not as stiff. But if you're going back to the classic Gears, it's got to be stiff. So
Yep. I don't know. I feel like this is an opportunity to reinvent, but also stay the same. But also just I think they have the chops to tell a story if it's there. I don't know if the whole idea of them doing the whole Locust being connected thing would be the greatest, but I feel like telling a story about Marcus and Dom's experience on E-Day is a significant amount of layers of fear, anguish, anger. I think there's plenty of emotions in that day for them to be able to make a good story. I'm looking forward to
yeah,
a on rails decent story. I'm not really looking forward to gameplay. I already know what I'm gonna get with Gears, so it's not like I need to reinvent that. They need to reinvent the story for me to feel engaged with the characters again in a significant way. So that's about it. That's what I'm looking for from it. That's what I saw. And really quickly, I'm going to grade it. I definitely think it was a 9 out of 10. Only thing I missed was the Xbox handheld and innovation, honestly. There was lack of innovation there. I feel like I get that from Nintendo, even though I don't like them. I think they got it in spades. So I'm looking forward to an innovative Switch 2, and I really want to see it transform the gaming industry. And I want the same thing to happen with the PS5 Pro, with the PS6. Obviously, Microsoft just decided to give us more storage, but I really want to see something innovative from them too. So the Xbox handheld would have been there. So it would have been 10 out of 10. But definitely their best showing in years to me. I missed the cars. They should have had a Forza car, but obviously no Forza game. But that's about it. I felt like that's my thoughts on that conference. What are your thoughts finalized in a solidified number? If you don't want to give it a number, just tell me how you feel about the conference.
I give it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. That's not bad for you, Jalen. You ain't like that many games, so you must just like the pacing and all that stuff, like how it was kind of fleshed out. Because
I feel like they showed enough stuff. I mean, a lot of places don't be. I feel
doing
like
that,
compared to the state of play, I don't really watch those, but
yeah,
compared to the state of play,
yeah,
it didn't show nothing. So
yeah. State of Play didn't show anything but Concord, and yeah, that's going down the toilet. What about you, Josh? Anything on your end, for rating wise, or anything you want to add to that conference?
I don't know what's wrong. My mic is acting weird, so I'm gonna just say I give it an 8. It had all the ingredients of a good showcase. I didn't get bored throughout the whole thing.
But yeah, okay. Well, I'm glad you everybody kind of had a good stance or enjoying it at least. That tells me that they did a good job and at least got something in there for everybody. It wasn't like perfect. To me, it's 9 out of 10 simply because of like this is like their this is like their best foot forward they could ever possibly do without doing even more. I feel like this is the great cadence, and if they can continue to put out 4 games, big games, every year that people really value and want to spend more time in. Like, I'm looking forward to Marvel's Blade. That wasn't even shown. So as they continue to build their library, I think it's going to be a tough out for Sony. Honestly, I think it's going to be tough. And I think Sony has to figure out a way to become more varied, but also leaner. It's tough, man. I do not want Microsoft to become the big player. I really don't. But it definitely feels like they are on the cusp of something great and a run that's going to be undeniable. They're going to be on an undeniable run. So I just hope that, Sony is prepared for that. But that's pretty much it for us. I want to thank you guys for watching as always and listening. If you got to this part of the show, you're the real OG. All we had time for today was unfortunately Microsoft. It was that big of a show. It was that much to cover. So we will get to everything else on the next run. We're going to have some more, deep thoughts in regards to everything and hopefully have a lot more to share. But it's been good. It's been a good time for gamers. I'm glad you stuck around and hung out. And we will talk to you guys next week. Peace.